Good morning, CLC. In this moment, at this time, I invite each and every one of you to just love on yourself a little bit. Go ahead and take this moment to take a nice, deep, cleansing breath in, breathing in the cool, calming, life-giving oxygen that surrounds you. And as you release the breath, release all that no longer serves you. Allow your body to relax in this moment. Allow any doubts or tension, any stress or negativity to just ooze away for the moment. Take another nice, deep, cleansing breath in. And as you release this breath, let your body relax and let your mind be here, now. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one, and all is well. As we begin this inner healing process, let me invite you to relax in quiet confidence, opening yourself up to the miracle-working higher power. Now symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your hand, and let my words act as your own for your own inner healing, acceptance, and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging this higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of this infinite presence, I simply speak these words: I surrender. Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all of my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, I now say, I forgive. Realizing that I continually experience the effects of my own thinking, I now choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only positive, constructive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose. I now center upon that one very special idea that I'm willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing that idea as already acted upon and brought to pass. In seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled and gratefully speak these words: I accept, knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me. I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release. Now, in my mind's eye, I enjoy the presence of someone near and dear to me. This can be a friend, a family member, a teacher or mentor, someone who has touched my life in deep and loving ways. Someone who may not be physically present in this room or on this planet anymore. I turn to that image in my mind's eye and say, I'm grateful for the good in your life. Now I open my eyes, turn to the world around me, and joyfully speak to anyone physically present in this room or virtually on this broadcast, and share in confidence and gratitude in saying, I'm grateful for the good in your lives.
Good morning. We'll try that again. Let me just get situated. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Are y'all sure? You're positive? There's no doubt in your mind? Okay, give yourselves a big hand. And to those of you who are online, welcome to Creative Life Spiritual Center. So I would ask that if you've not already done it in the chat box, just kind of drop in where you are chiming in from, because we would love to know where you're from as the word reaches the world. So my name is Reverend Arthur Johnson. It's a pleasure for me to be sharing with you today. I want to thank my big brother, Jesse Jennings, for giving me an opportunity to be here with you again. He's already texted me this morning with my marching orders. So, so definitely I want to be obedient and to do just that. And he just told me to have a great time and to hit it out the park. So I don't know what that means, but we're going to really give it our best shot. Let us give Jeffrey Oshman a big hand. Thank you, Jeffrey, for the music. I love that song, In the Silence. Did y'all pick up on that? Yeah. Did y'all pick up on that? In the silence, right? And the lyrics went on to say the many things that happen in the silence. And I think we need to spend time in silence. And I believe it was Thomas Carlyle who said it best. He said this, he said, in the space of silence, great ideas fashion themselves together. Ideas coming together? Yeah, in the space of silence, great ideas fashion themselves together, which simply says that I need to perhaps pull away, still away, and embrace the silence so that I can perhaps make sense of the noise, to make sense of everything that's going on around me. Because if not, we will perhaps become a part of it and not actually be able to control it because we become one with it. But getting away in the silence gives us the opportunity once again to perhaps connect with our Creator and to perhaps get the divine guidance or the divine direction that we need in order to make sense of not only what's going on around us, but also what's going on within us. Who's visiting for the first time? Okay. All right, let's clap our first-time visitors. You don't have to be shy. You don't have to be shy. We ask you to raise your hands, and clearly you'll be given attention to later on in the service, but we're not going to ask you to stand and give your name and all of that good stuff. We just want to acknowledge you because we appreciate you being in our very presence, and we don't count it an accident that you're here. And I hope you don't either. And perhaps it's a divine appointment, because perhaps someone invited you today, and it was because Spirit had something to share with you, and you had to be here in order to get it. So I want to appreciate you for accepting the invitation and thank those who invited you. Let's give everybody a big hand again. Okay, we have some serious business to talk about today. How many of y'all came for that? Okay, good, good. Very serious, very serious, very serious. No, we really do have something serious to talk about, and it is, I think in our program, Jesse gave the title that I perhaps gave him, which we were going to talk about MindWorks, That's the topic of today's discussion, MindWorks. And I believe Reverend David said on last week that I'm normally all over the stage. And he's correct. I'm normally over here, and I'm normally over there. Yeah, I'm normally over there. I'm normally everywhere because I just get excited about the truth that we teach and the truth that we share because it's liberating. It's liberating, meaning that it can lift you out of whatever you find yourself in. And I think that's good news because oftentimes we are waiting on something or someone else to come and lift us up and to lift us out. But when you know the power of your mind and when you know who's in you and who's working through you, you come to understand that you have all you need to lift you out of whatever you find yourself in. I'll clap for you. And you can feel free to just kind of like join in when I clap. It's kind of like the choir director. I can't sing, right? But I can speak, and then I love to clap, right? And you can just kind of join in clapping as well. Why is that? Because once again, it allows us to connect kind of statically with perhaps what we've heard auditorily, if that makes sense, right? So we just kind of clap as a way of affirming that which we've heard. Now, I'm definitely not going to clap for anything that's not going to be beneficial to you. Everything that I clap will be beneficial to you and for you, and most of all, it'll be beneficial to me and for me. So we're going to talk about MindWorks. Here in the city of Houston, there is an exhibit going on right now at the Health Museum, and it's called MindWorks. And it'll be here, I think, until mid-September. And it's all the way from Ontario, Canada. And it's from the Ontario Science Center, but it's a beautiful display, it's a beautiful demonstration, and it lets you know how your mind works. And it does it by way of games that you can go and play, and it just kind of helps you see how you make decisions. It helps you to understand listening to your inner voice. You can play this big Pac-Man game, so forth and so on. But what's so powerful about the actual exhibit is when you first walk in, there is a statement on a wall, and it says this: do you know how your mind works? That's the operative question. Do you know how your mind works? A great Indian author by the name of Rita Gaturi, she said this. She said, our mind is a garden. Our thoughts are the seeds. You can grow flowers, or you can grow weeds. I'm going to let you enter the silence for 60 minutes or 60 seconds, right? I just want you to think about that. Our mind is a garden, and our thoughts are the seeds. You can either grow flowers, or you can grow weeds. Rita Gaturi. What do y'all think about that? Yeah, it makes sense, right? Our mind, it's like this garden, and our thoughts are the seeds, and we can grow flowers or we can grow weeds. The question is, what have I been growing in my garden? And then, what am I allowing to grow in my garden? Because you may say, hey, Arthur, yeah, but there are just some things in my garden that I did not plant. Yes, hey, trust me, I understand that. You may not have planted it, but you have a responsibility to uproot it if you don't want it in your garden. I hear y'all clapping online. I know it's coming in, and y'all are just working, Danielle and Reverend Lisa, because you're just clapping up a storm. Yes. Whether you planted it or not, if it's not to your benefit, if it's not to your liking, guess what? You have a responsibility to uproot it. You have a responsibility to clean it up. Quick question. If your neighbor's trash got in your yard, what would you do? No. No. Someone say put it back in theirs. Well, I guess that's one approach, right? That's one approach. But we want to be good citizens, like State Farm says, right? We want to be a good neighbor, right? But we probably we really would tell them about it, but we want to definitely clean it up because it's in our yard. We wouldn't just stand and complain, would we? Who threw trash in my yard? That's my neighbor's trash. No, because that does nothing to clean up the trash. Let us get rid of the trash, and then we can deal with maybe whoever was responsible for how it got there. But once again, we're responsible for the garden. We're responsible for our minds. The question is, have I been a good gardener with my mind? We're talking about MindWorks now, and MindWorks is going to lead us into a quick conversation. And the subtopic for today, MindWorks, how to move forward with a confident mindset. Come on, repeat after me. How to move forward with a confident mindset. Okay, real quick question. Is there anybody in the room that has more room in their life for good? Okay, good. I love it. So what I want you to do now is just tell the person next to you that you're in the right place, at the right time, for the right message. All right. Go ahead and clap. Absolutely, because we've now qualified for being here. That's kind of like your fee for coming in, right? That was like the admission for being here, right? That there's room in your life for more good, for more joy, more peace, more love, more happiness, more success, more wealth, more prosperity. Why? Because there is no limit other than the limit that we put on ourselves. Oftentimes we blame God and we limit God, but it's not God who's limited. It's not God who to blame. We have to take responsibility perhaps for what's showing up in our lives. Absolutely. And I know it's a hard charge, but how else would you have it? Because if it was any other way, you would not have a way to take control of your life and make it what you want it to be. So we have to have, okay, I got an amen in the back. She waved her hand. Absolutely. We have to have it that way because that's what gives us the power to work with God to create the things of God. Yeah, we co-create. I'll give you an example real quickly. There was this man who had a real beautiful, someone say beautiful. Had a real beautiful garden. It had nice flowers and so forth. So a man passed by and he says, hey, guess what? He says, the good Lord has been good to you. Right? And the man said, okay, I know where he's going with this. He said, you're right. I got a nice plush garden. I have many different vegetations, right? He says, yes, the good Lord has been good to me, but you should have seen it when he had it all by himself. Yeah, y'all gonna get that one on the way home. Because before that, it was just a blank barren plot of land, but that man took what God gave him and made something great out of it. So somebody's just going to pass by and say, oh, yeah, God has been good. Well, yeah, but you should have seen it before when he had it by himself. Guess what? We are the same way. As I love to say, what we are, right, is God's gift to us. What we make of ourselves is our gift back to God. The question is, what kind of gift am I giving back to God? Clap on for it. But the beautiful thing is, I can always make my gift better because I can always make myself better. We're talking about MindWorks and how the mind works. We understand that you perhaps sow a seed and you reap a harvest. And oftentimes there may be some weeds that just show up because people just kind of do some things like that. They just come by and drop off their negativity. They come by and drop off their doubt. They come by and drop off their fear. They come by and drop off their lack thoughts, their insufficient thoughts, their insecure thoughts. And because we didn't have our gate on the garden, it flew into our garden and started to grow up. But now that we know, guess what? We can start cleaning it up. Doubt plucked up. Fear plucked up. Insecurity plucked up. Where did that come from? I don't know, but you don't belong here. Yeah, is it work? Yes. That's why it's called MindWorks. Now we're going to talk about how to have and move forward with a confident mindset. So we've all identified that there's more room in our lives for more. But the more is not just going to show up. Because if it was just going to show up, it would have already shown up. In order to have goods, you have to plant good. In order to have grapes, you have to plant grapes. And I'll tell you, there's just something about nature and soil. I passed by an area where they had cleared off a lot of foliage, and it was just sand. It was just dirt. And in about 2 to 3 months' time, I passed by that same location, Reverend David, and guess what? Weeds had started to grow. So what does that tell us? That if I don't tend to my mind, by default, weeds will grow up. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. But if I'm taking care of my mind, guess what? I'm plucking up what I don't want, and I'm planting what I do want. And we cannot take a day off without working in the garden. Because something is always growing. And how many of you know that if we don't deal with the weeds, they'll take over the garden? Okay, I got I have some more believers in the back. Okay, I have a few more believers. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with testifying to the truth. Yes, the weeds will take over the garden. Mary, you work in our garden out here, don't you? Now. Mary said, don't put me on blast. But normally Mary works out in the garden, so Mary can be our resident scholar on the garden. From time to time, she has to clean it out. And there are some things that are there that she did not plant. But she just don't stand and, where do you come from? Who passed by and dropped you there? Why are you there? No, she has to get a shovel and her gloves, and she has to do the dirty work. But once she works the garden, she's making room for more of what she wants. So I was eavesdropping. On a conversation. And it was a conversation that Moses, this is the Bible, Moses was having with Joshua. And Joshua had been given a command to take the children over into the promised land, over into health, into joy, into success, and to prosperity, into everything that was nice and good and appreciative. So he was giving Joshua this pep talk, this talk of an encouragement. So I eavesdropped on their conversation so that I could extract the lessons to come and share with us today, because I believe success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. And when we talk about moving forward with a confident mindset, the first thing that I picked up from the conversation with Moses and Joshua was this. that you must assess your assets. You must assess your assets. Because where I'm going is found right there in Deuteronomy 31. I want to say it's probably the 8th verse of the 31st chapter of Deuteronomy. We're going to deal with the A portion first. And it simply says this, that the Lord will be with you. The Lord will go before you, and the Lord will be with you. The Lord will go before you, and the Lord will be with you. The Lord will go before you, and the Lord will be with you. We're talking about how to move forward with a confident mindset. So now as Moses was working with Joshua, he was really working with Joshua's mind. He was working with Joshua's mind because he needed to get Joshua to have the right mindset in order to move the people forward and accomplish the good that they desired. And how many of you know for us, whatever we experience in life is going to be a result of our mindset. Our mindset is just like right here we have a thermostat, and the thermostat is set on a certain temperature, right? So the temperature in the room is not going to go any higher than the temperature that's set on the thermostat. So if I have a temperature in my life experience of health or wealth or success or prosperity, that's where my physical experience will rise to. If I have a temperature of sickness, of poverty, of lack or limitation, that's where my experience is going to rise to. Case in point, right now, I did not necessarily know if I was going to be here today, but I knew I was going to be here today. Why you say that, Artie? Because for some reason I caught a bug, right? I'm gonna have to stop catching things that don't belong to me. What I'm really saying is I caught a little cold somewhere along the way. As I said, I'm gonna have to stop catching things that don't belong to me, because that definitely did not belong to me. But this is the thing that I kept telling myself. As my body was sick, I could not let my mind get sick. Because if my mind had gotten sick, I would have been down for the count. So yes, my body felt the way it felt, but yet I had to keep my mind strong. I had to keep affirming health. I had to keep affirming wholeness, as well as I was taking the physical medications as well, and I'm still taking them. I got a peppermint in my mouth right now, right? But I'm showing up because I'm letting my body know who is in control. It's called MindWorks. There we go. Hey, it's okay. Hey, and this is the deal. Hey, you don't have to wait for me to clap. You don't have to wait for me to clap. Because if you clap, I'm definitely going to clap. But if I clap, I invite you to clap with me. Yeah, we have to let it know who's in control. So, once again, we have to be able to assess our assets. We have to be able to assess our assets. And we find that clearly in that first clause of Deuteronomy 31:8, when he says, hey, this is what I need you to know. The Lord will go before you, and the Lord will be with you. We need to take that with us. We need to pack it up. We need to zip it up. We need to put it in our phone. We need to make a note of it. We need to make an affirmation of it. Whatever we need to do to make it real in our experience, we need to know that wherever we are, God is. There is no place that we can be. There's no spot that we can be that God is not. I don't think y'all properly impressed. I don't think y'all I'm looking at you. I'm looking at y'all faces. Right? Y'all like, what? And I'll tell you this. Long time ago, someone say long time ago. I stopped serving that God that goes and comes. I did. And I guess that's why I can say that. Because if we still serve a God that goes and comes, we may think that he's not here. We may think that he won't be there when I get there. So to alleviate all of that, once I understood that there was one power, one presence, and one life, and that God was all, that everywhere I am, God is, that did away with God goes and comes. Now, you don't have to take everything I'm dishing out. But I guarantee you, it is like protein. It is like real food. It's, like Paul said, we need to get y'all on some milk. We need to get y'all on some real food. We need to get y'all off that baby milk, right? Because once I understand that now gives me a certain degree of confidence in the moment, right? That I can be no place that God is not, because now I'm dealing in a dualistic mindset that God may not show up, that God may not be there. No, let me ask you this, and it's real simple, and we're going to move on from this point. Is air in the room?
Yes.
Is air outside?
Yes.
Is air at your home? Absolutely. Paul said it is in him, in God, that we live, move, and have our being. It is in God. So God is all, in all, and through all. So I don't have to go and get God. I just need to acknowledge God. Thank you, God. Yeah. And many of y'all know, I was a Baptist minister for 25 years. Been to seminary school and all that good stuff. So I believed in the God that went and came. I'm free now. I'm free to have a new thought now. I'm free to have a new thought. Which I say this teaching is so powerful because it will allow you to basically liberate yourself. Because you understand who you are in God and who God is in you. And you're God's highest form of creation. You're God's highest form of creation. He said, in you, I will make you in my image and likeness. Not the animals. You. You. So we must assess our assets and acknowledge our partner. Assess our assets and acknowledge our partner. That's what he told Joshua. He said, hey, I know you have a hard task in front of you. I know you're going to take me to the promised land, but this is what I need you to know. That God will go before you and God will be with you. I love that. So if it's an interview that I have, okay, God, I know you're already there. I need you to work on the hearts and the minds of the people that are going to hear me. I need you to give me the words to say that are going to meet their particular need so that we can have a match made in heaven here on earth. So, okay, God, go to the doctor. Okay, God, once again, God, okay, we're going to the doctor. God, I need you to be able to speak to and through this physician to be able to give me the information that I need in order to bring healing to my body. God, thank you. So, once again, we are already connecting with the God that is already there. Moving forward with a confident mindset. This is something that Gary Player said, and it's very powerful. He says, this is Gary Player, he says, I try to work with God as a partner. I try to work with God as a partner. Question, do we work with God as a partner? Do we work with God as a partner? That's perhaps the question that we want to use from a self-examination standpoint. As I move about on my daily basis, as I'm engaging in my daily affairs, am I working with God or have I chosen to work by myself and with myself? Something to think about. But I want you to know that God is always there because he never left. But yet we need to be able to acknowledge him in order to move forward with a confident, someone say confident, mindset. Absolutely. Because guess what? We're working our mind. We are working our mind instead of allowing our mind to work us. Because how many of you know that it will? It will. And Horace said it like this. Horace. He said it like this. He says, if you don't rule your mind will rule you. If you don't rule your mind will rule you. So the question is, am I ruling it or is it ruling me? All we got to look at is the decisions that we make, don't make, or allow others to make for us. And that will let us know who's in control. But guess what? If you find out that, hey, I'm not as in control as I want to be, but after today, it's a new day. It's a new beginning because I understand now the power that I have. Not only did Player say that, this is the last one that I want to share because I think it's very powerful. It comes from Dr. Freddie Bells. Freddie Bells was a part of the New Thought movement, specifically the science of mind. He said this. He said, at this moment, there is latent, meaning inside of us right now, perhaps dormant, in every person, enough of the power of God to transform him and lift him entirely out of his difficulty. I think I'm going to read it for you one more time. At this moment, right here and now, right where we are, there is latent in you enough of the power of God to transform you and lift you entirely out of whatever difficulty you find yourself in. Yes. I was waiting. I was waiting. I didn't want to take over all the claps. But yes, that's good news. That's good news. Because we are going to Costco looking for power. We'll go to Walmart looking for power. We'll go to Sam's looking for power. We'll go to our neighbor looking for power. We'll go to our friend girl looking for power. And we never go to the true source of power, which is within. As Jeffrey sang about that place of silence. Okay, God, this is what we're dealing with. This is where I am. Lead me, guide me, empower me, strengthen me, protect me. With you, I am victorious. And now let's go do this. God's like, okay, let's go do it. You're not beating your own heart right now. You may forget. You're not even controlling your own breath. You may forget to breathe. There's something inside of us that is so powerful that if we come to recognize it and appreciate it and intentionally direct it, it would do wonders for us. Okay, question is, do you know what you're working with? Do you know what you are working with? You're working with the very power of God, the very power of good. Because as Ernest Holmes would oftentimes say, there is a power in the universe for good, greater than you are, greater than I am, that we can use to create good in our lives. It's no different than the soil. I don't know how to grow a plant, but I do know how to sow a seed and let God do the deed. Do we know what we're working with? Because the same thing that you're working with is working in you. But you've got to know something about it. Second point. The first point is you must assess your assets. Not sit on them, but assess them. Because if you sit on your assets, it's not going to do anything for you. But if you put your assets to work, your assets will work for you. Put your faith to work. Put your belief to work. Put your courage to work. Put your confidence to work. Put your God to work. And see what happens in your life. Secondly, not only must you assess your assets, not only must you acknowledge your power, the second thing that we must do, you must claim your power. Someone say, claim your power. Absolutely, absolutely. Because he tells him in 31, A and B, he says this, he will never leave you nor forsake you. So God will never leave you nor forsake you. Once again, I cannot impress upon you, I got rid of this God that goes and comes. I mean, it's either you're here or you're not here. But thank God you're here. Because the scripture says he will never leave you nor forsake you. So it's either we're going to believe that or we're not going to believe it. Because this is what he was telling Joshua. This is what you're going to need. Because you're going to have to go through some things. But guess what? I got you. God got you. So when it seems hard, when it seems tiresome, when it seems like it's not working, when it seems like it's not going to work out, I want you to know you don't have to do it by yourself because God has not left you. The same God that started it in you is the same God that will finish it through you. Clap, Arthur. It's all about believing. It's all about, some Ernest Holmes used to say that our perhaps entire philosophy, religion, however we would want to term it, is all about belief. And it is. Because Jesus himself said, according to your faith be it unto you. According to your belief be it unto you. Believe and receive. What do you ask for when you pray? Believe and you shall receive. We've got to believe. That becomes the container. That becomes the mold. That becomes the blueprint by which Spirit can do what we believe can be done. We have to believe. Claim your power and consider your promise. An anonymous person said this, which I thought was very powerful. It says, don't ever give up on something or someone that you can't go a full day without thinking about. I know that's heavy. That's heavy. Because if you're thinking about it, what you think about, you bring about. But you got to claim your power. And not only claim your power, you must also consider your promise. Not only claim your power, but consider your promise. Because the promise was he will never leave you nor forsake you. God will never leave you or forsake you. Divine mind, divine intelligence, Almighty Spirit, whatever we would want to name the presence will always be the presence. And once the presence become a present to you, you cannot present it to others. I know, I didn't want to clap, but thank you. Yeah, absolutely. 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 We have to embrace the presence. And then it becomes a present for us that we can present to the world in the form of a life that's lived magnificently. Because somebody looks at the demonstrations that we made, it's like, wow, what's going on with you? It's really not what's going on with me, it's what's going on within me. Jesus himself said, y'all hating on me. It's not about me. It's about the Father that's in me. Yes. Yeah. And when we come to understand that everything is created twice, and that if it's going to ever happen out here, it has to happen in here first. If it's going to ever happen exoterically, it has to happen esoterically. Everything is built on the inside first. If we don't ever get it in here, we'll never have it out there. But once we get it in here, nothing can stop it out there from coming. Yes, nothing can stop it. It's an inside job. It's an inside job. But what happens, we let too many people in our house. We're living rent-free. Yeah. They're not even paying anything. And we give them time in our house. We got this mansion of a mind, and it's just being destroyed by these minuscule people, these many minds that we are allowing in our house. Okay, stop messing around, Arthur. Stop messing with people. I know that's not. Hey, online, I'll let y'all put something in the chat, because here in the center, they are chopping it up. Okay, but yes, they're living rent-free. I call them mind squatters. Mind squatter, they just sitting there. Meaning you no good, meaning themselves no good, don't want to do anything, don't want to have anything, just squatting. Cut them off. Get them out of your life. Get them out of your garden. Okay, let me stop. Oh, absolutely. So, here we go. Now, you must claim your power and consider your promise. Here's something that's very powerful that Louise Hay shared. Louise Hay, once again, a great writer in the New Thought movement. Many years ago in Los Angeles, she kind of started the whole AIDS movement of care. She's long gone, but definitely her work still remains. She says, you have the power to heal your life, and you need to know that. We think so often that we are helpless, but we're not. We always have the power of our minds. Claim and consciously use your power. I don't think y'all were impressed by that one, but I'm going to read it once again just for my own sake. You have the power to heal your life, and you need to know that. You need to know that. You need to know that you have the power to heal your life. You have the power to change your conditions. You have the power to transform your circumstances. You have the power to create a new destiny for yourself. You have the power. Why? Because you have God power. And there's nothing else that can match God power. She says, we think so often that we're helpless, but we're not. We always have the power of our minds. Claim and consciously use your power. point number 2, remember, claim your power and consider your promise. The last thing that we must do if we're going to move forward with a confident mindset, if we're going to work our mind and make our mind work for us, this last thing that we must do is we must take action. We must take action. Deuteronomy 31:8, the C clause, he says this, hey Joshua, do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Because if I'm not afraid and I'm not discouraged, I should be acting. I should be taking action. Because normally it's fear that causes us not to act. Normally it's discouragement that causes us not to act. So basically what Moses is telling him is, I need you to be encouraged and I need you to be empowered and I need you to take action. I need you to do something. I need you to move forward with confidence. The question is, what action are you committed to take to move forward? Remember, we talked about the room that we have for more in our lives. What action are you willing to take to move forward toward that more, toward that good? What step are you willing to take? What step can you take? It doesn't have to be large, but it does have to be a step. Action is required. There's a story told real quickly, and we're wrapping up. It's a story about a frog. And the frog was in hot water. And the frog felt that everything was fine. And the temperature was being turned up. And it did not affect the frog. He just stayed in the water because he adjusted his temperature to the rising temperature of the water. And the temperature rose a little bit more. And the frog, once again, adjusted his temperature to the temperature of the water. And then the water was risen a little more. And it got to the point that the frog's temperature now could not accommodate or adjust to the temperature of the hot water. So now the frog did not have a chance to hop out of that, which at first he had become comfortable in, but now it was leading to his demise because he was losing all he had because the increased temperature was now causing his temperature to begin to dissipate. He was beginning to die. So let's not be like the frog and stay in a situation before it gets too hot and we can't jump out of it. What are you saying, Arthur? What I'm saying is there's a time and a season for every purpose and every activity under the heavens. And we have to know what time it is in our lives and what the season is. And if the temperature is too hot, perhaps it's time to jump. If the situation is too hot, perhaps it's time to leap. If the situation is not what we clearly desire it to be, perhaps it's time for us to get out of it and move forward. Why? Because we've assessed our assets. Why? Because we've claimed our power. And thirdly, we are now taking action and we are trusting the power and the promise. The power is God will go before us and God will be with us. The promise is God will never leave us nor forsake us. What I've shared with us in closing is simply this. In order to move forward with a confident mindset, we must act. We must act. The A, assess your assets. The C, claim your power. The T, take action. That spells act. Assess your assets. Claim your power. And take action. So the question is, now that you know, what are you going to do? Because many students are starting college right now. And they took what was called an A.C.T. test. It's a college entrance exam. And the higher you score on the exam, the greater your chances of getting in your chosen college, as well as getting scholarship money. But you have to be willing to prepare for the exam, take the exam, and ace the exam. A.C.T. It's no different in life. The more acts that we commit, the more acts that we engage in, the better our chances of living the confident life, living the abundant life, living the joyful life, living the healthful life, because it just doesn't happen. And lastly, here is a bag of popcorn. Y'all can't see it, but it's Act 2. It's Act 2. That's the brand of popcorn. Act 2. Remember, as long as you're breathing, you can always create an Act 2. I don't care what the first act was. I don't care what the first scene was. I don't care what the first experience was, what the first marriage was, what the first job was. The past doesn't matter. You can create a second act. And it can be so much greater and grander than the first act, because now you have a lot of wisdom, you have a lot of knowledge, and you have a lot of experience. And perhaps you know what works, what doesn't work. You know what you want and what you don't want. You know what you'll settle for and what you won't settle for. So Act 2 is going to be amazing, because it's going to be exactly like you want it to be, because you are the producer, you are the script writer, and you are the leading actor. How many of y'all want this? Okay, what? Who wants this? Somebody, did you raise your hand, sir? Oh, he raised his hand, ma'am. You take it to him? Okay, yeah, he raised his hand. He got lucky, he did. Sir, would you meet her? Sir, would you meet her? He was supposed to act. Yeah, he was, but he raised his hand. And sir, you raise your hand when I ask who wanted. What's on the back of that bag? I want you to say it. Yes, that was a $100 bill. It was a $100 bill on the back of the bag of popcorn. He read it in your glasses. And what that simply says is that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Yes. There's going to be a 100% return for every action that you're willing to take. Don't talk yourself out of acting. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter how small it is. And he has a large-sized bag of popcorn. They have some mini bags as well, because you may need to take a mini step. It does not matter. Take the step. You will not regret it. Let us pray. Let us know together that there is one life, one power, one presence, and one God. And for that, we are thankful. We are eternally grateful. We're grateful for what our eyes have experienced and our ears have heard. We're grateful for Spirit speaking to us in this moment. It's my prayer and desire that every heart would be open and receptive to all that went forth. Whatever you feel it is that you need, you already have it. It's within you. And God is for you. Don't question it. Don't doubt it. Just believe it. God's got you. Because God realizes that you are his highest form of creation. And he desires nothing more than for you to be happy, healthy, whole, wealthy, prosperous, successful, joyful, loving, kind, long-suffering. God desires you to express its highest qualities as yourself. We're thankful that this is happening right now, because as you're receiving these words, they're being sealed in your spirit. Something inside of you is jumping, it's emanating, it's connecting with what's being said. Because you are feeling and experiencing the very life force of God. Receive it, embrace it, and express it. God, we love you and we thank you. We honor you for your word, for your wisdom, and for your will for our lives. Amen. And so it is.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Reverend Arthur. You're quoting Gary Player. I guess you could say he was on the ball, huh?
Absolutely.
Next Sunday, we start a new series with our senior minister, Reverend Dr. Jesse Jennings. It's called Spiritual Energies in Everyday Life. His energy will be different than Reverend Arthur's, but his message will be just as forthcoming. And I did tell you, if you go to sleep during Reverend Arthur's talk, then you deserve a gold medal. Coming up next week, we have two things here. It'll be our community hour, which means after the service next Sunday, we'll meet, there'll be refreshments, and we can all gather and talk. On Friday at 7 o'clock is our drum circle, so please come for that. Pretty well every day during the week, we have something going on. We have book studies going on. Fridays, we have Philosophy Friday. We have Sacred Activism on Thursdays. Every single day of the week, Reverend Lisa is on somewhere around about 9 or 9:30 in the morning, and she's reading from the sign. I've been watching you. You're not on at 9 o'clock anymore. 9:27. I've been watching. She'll be reading from the Science of Mind textbook. It's our basic instruction manual. And then in the evening, somewhere around about 9 o'clock, 5 o'clock, but you never know the time zone, right? So it could be 9 o'clock somewhere, Lisa, in the middle of the Atlantic. I'll be reading from the Science of Mind magazine, the Daily Guides. So everything else you want to know is in our weekly newsletter. If you want to sign up for it, we encourage you to do so. Send an email to info@creativelife.org. And it goes out by constant contact, which means nobody else will see your email address. Or the vestibule in the back. And also in the back there, we usually have a whole list of the month's events. We have a calendar back there. I know we have new people in the room, so if you're new, would you please hold your hand out? Our usher is going to bring you some information. Pardon? Nothing? We have a front row here that if I forget something, they're shouting it out to me. You may not be able to hear it online, but they are reminding me, hey, David, you forgot this, you forgot that. Well, I didn't forget today, see? I get a medal, right? Thank you. As we come up to giving time, we appreciate everything everyone does for our center, whether it's your physical support here in the room. Afterwards, a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes that you don't see, but it takes a lot of work, and it also takes money to keep our center going. So we appreciate your giving. So just please be generous with us. Help us to keep our positive message out, because our goal is to change the world to a world that works for everyone. That is our total goal. So say with me now, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. I am prosperous now, and so it is.
So my responsibilities are, well, no, you know what, I'll tell you the three that I normally do. The first thing I want to tell you is, if this is your first experience with Reverend Arthur, okay, I have good news for you. We have a YouTube channel, Creative Life Spiritual Center YouTube channel. When you go there, if you click on playlists, then any of the speakers that you see on the stage regularly have their own playlist, including Reverend Arthur's. If you want to see what else Reverend Arthur has said up here, please go to the playlist. please go to the playlist. I will share that I usually get it up about 8 o'clock at night. I move the Sunday service, and I make sure to put him in the regular, monthly playlist, but I also link him into his own playlist. So if you want to hear anything else from Reverend Arthur, I don't know how many are in there, but he's got his own playlist. Please go look. I get to do a treatment to turn you loose. We had an interesting Philosophy Friday, and we were talking about what's essential to us, what we've learned in our wild and wonderful life. And I think I kind of figured out what we would call my elevator speech. If you ask me what I believe, here's what I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to echo you. What I believe is that there is nowhere God is not. And you will never look in the eyes of someone God does not love, including yourself. That's what I believe. That is what this teaching has taught me. So, as you move forward into your week, I want you to take those words with you. There is nowhere God is not. And you will never look in the eyes of someone that God does not love. So know with me now that there is one life, one presence, one power, one love. And each and every one of us live that life. We are that present. We are the divine channels for that power and that love into this world. And when we know that, anything is possible. So I am knowing for each and every one of us that presence, that embrace, that we feel that embrace of the divine. That we know that we are going to dip in a well that is inexhaustible, that always says yes, that whatever it is that we come to that God Spirit with, that Spirit always says yes. You are more than enough. Take what you need. More importantly, take what you want. Live the life magnificent. Live in love, in joy, in peace, in harmony, in song, in dance, in good works. Be the magnificent being that you were created to be. And know that everything that you desire to do, you are backed fully by a presence that loves you and loved you before you walk this earth and will love you long after. And I know this with all of the gratitude in my being. I am grateful for a teaching that teaches me who I am, who you are, a beloved expression of the divine. I am grateful for our ministers. I am grateful for our musicians. I am grateful for our practitioners. I am grateful for each and every one of you. I am grateful for the community that comes together to remind each other who we are. I am grateful for the technology that allows us to throw this out into the ethers, that all may hear the message meant for them. And I am grateful because it feels good. And I relax and release my word with love into the law, knowing that it is done. And so it is.
Say it with me now. Something wonderful is happening through me. I feel it in my body. I feel it in my mind. I feel it in everything I am I choose it. I trust it. I use it. And I love it. And so it is.